Good morning, gamers. It is a great time to talk about some delicious video game leaks because it seems as if the entirety of Sony's next State of Play, which is happening here next week, has suddenly just been posted onto the internet. Now, I've had a bunch of subscribers sending this to me, and it seems kind of legit. So just for funsies, we're going to go through it bit by bit and see what's actually going on. Hope you're having a great one. Please, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, but also keep dreaming. Okay, let's start. Hi, I'm DreamcastGuy. If you don't know me, I play a bunch of different games, I love a bunch of different stuff, and I love talking about video games, but let's dig into the weirdness of this situation. So what we have here is a big image that's just been sort of circulating across the internet, and it says this. Let's just zoom in here a tiny bit. PlayStation State of Play for June 2nd, 2022, Edition version 2.0. So this seems to be implying that they're currently trying to tinker with it. Now, I want to go through this literally game by game, but what you'll notice here is that's kind of peculiar is it has actual timestamps. They've said that this entire presentation is going to be roughly 30 minutes of third-party games, so as much as I wanted to see stuff like God of War Ragnarok or Spider-Man 2 or maybe 15 seconds of Wolverine gameplay, which is probably years and years in the future, all this press conference is going to be is mostly VR stuff, it sounds like. Well, according to this leak, there is a surprising amount of good projects in here, but also some stuff completely missing. Now let's go through it bit by bit. The first thing here is Project Destructive, which is apparently going to be an announcement trailer, and it has 2 minutes of maybe gameplay. Kind of interesting. Now, next one we have Stray. Stray is obviously that cat game that we keep seeing little teases about where you're playing as a cat with a little backpack going on an adventure. A lot of Sony fans, myself included, seem to be very hyped about this because it just seems like a very different tone of indie game. I feel like so many games these days are trying to be big and epic, so I kind of respect a project that is purposefully bite-sized. Well, this game has already been rated. There's been some leaks that it's coming out in late July, so this seems like it getting a trailer makes sense. Now, inside of this thing here, it says that it is a final trailer. So if this is legit and it does sort of seem it, that would sort of make sense. Now, here we start to get into the games that are the most questionable to me. Street Fighter VI is apparently going to get 2.5 minutes in a first trailer. Now, the reason they're calling this first trailer, and it does sort of ping my radar, is because Street Fighter VI has been teased. Obviously, we had the logo reveal, I guess. We had a little bit of hints about the graphics and stuff. Now, there's been a bunch of leaks sort of revolving around Street Fighter VI that Capcom really wants this to be a huge success. They're using it on the RE engine. They want it to be better graphics, tight controls, fan favorite characters, all just on one big roster. Now, I'm not the biggest Street Fighter fan, if I'm being perfectly honest, but getting a chance to see a little bit of gameplay, it seems bizarre that they would put that right at the beginning of a conference, but alright, let's see what's next. Project Eve is that anime-style Capcom slasher. Now, again, these are all like not to be insulting, but these feel like B-style things. These are not your big AAA releases. These are a little bit more toned down, less hyped up projects. But Project Eve, it getting shown does make sense. It being there for 2 minutes again, still I'm a little bit less hyped about. Now, just for funsies, let's skip all the way to the bottom of this list just for a second, because all of these games they're talking about seem plausible. I'm not saying this list is real. I'm not saying this is definitely confirmed, but it definitely seems like it's reasonable. Nothing on here seems crazy. It's not like they're saying Final Fantasy XVI or that Zelda is coming to PlayStation. This entire list seems reasonable. And the one right here, though, that I have to talk about, Resident Evil 4 2023. This is the Resident Evil 4 remake. If everything here is real, if all of this turns out to be legit, I will lose my mind to see even the tiniest peek at the Resident Evil 4 remake. You guys already know this, but I am a gigantic fanboy for Resident Evil. I love the whole classic style of survival horror, of saving one bullet and aim for the head. I really have especially loved the Resident Evil remakes, 1, 2, and 3. These remakes have been such freaking tantamount masterpieces of spookiness, and the idea of Resident Evil 4, which is already one of the best games ever, and I will die on that hill, the fact that it's getting a remake, like, this is incredibly hyped. There has been a bunch of rumors that the game is very much deep into development and that it could hopefully be coming next year. Now, this does make sense because it was essentially Resident Evil 2 remake, a couple year gap, Resident Evil 3 remake, and now we're getting a couple year gap in the Resident Evil 4 remake. This, from a timeline perspective, is good. If we just get this one game and nothing else, I will consider this the biggest, fattest W possible. But here's some of the other stuff on the list. Forspoken is apparently going to be getting a gameplay trailer. I'm going to zoom out here slightly. A gameplay trailer for Forspoken definitely makes sense. Or sorry, they're calling it the story trailer. Now, this is the one part that sort of pings me as possibly fake. Spending 3 minutes on Forspoken and just giving us a story trailer. I think the last couple trailers were also called the story trailers. At this point, Forspoken, if it's actually supposed to be coming out this year, I think we need to see gameplay. The closer we get to the Forspoken release, the more skeptical I am of it. Something about that project just doesn't seem quite right. It's difficult to put into words, but something about Forspoken seems very underdeveloped. It honestly just doesn't look very fun. Now, going into this, we have 2 indie games back to back. Little Devil Inside is like a side-scrolling indie sort of narrative experience. Looks pretty good. Chia, which we've seen just got delayed recently. These are both basically little teeny tiny indie games that are very artsy, and we do know for a fact that Sony has been pushing a lot of their indie projects more. They've been talking about the fact that, like, Sony wants to have good exclusive indie games along with big AAA stuff. Now, in the middle here, we have a bunch of PlayStation VR experiences, and I think this is part of why a lot of people are sort of believing this itinerary that's leaked out, is because it does seem like this is predominantly going to end up being a PlayStation VR2 showcase. It's going to be their chance to talk about why this is a bigger and better version of PlayStation VR. Well, it starts off with a PlayStation VR2 overview, probably showing off those new controllers that have been leaked, probably talking about the resolution and graphics of the headset. Then they're going to show Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 with PlayStation VR support. That would be bonkers. That seems a little bit disorienting to me, but the fact that it has this little plus, it makes me think that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, it is having exclusive marketing, so this could just be them showing off tons and tons of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 gameplay, showing the multiplayer, showing the combat, and then at the end they say also available on PlayStation VR 2. Now, here is the one that I am again losing my mind about. Resident Evil Village Last Hopes update. Now, what's interesting about this is Hopes with an S. Last Hopes update. Something about this really strikes me as completely true. Now, this is just completely a guess. I don't know. Nobody has handed this to me from Sony headquarters, but something about the terminology of the Last Hopes update. I think that Resident Evil Village has been a very big seller. It has been a huge, tremendous success. It's been very profitable. Capcom has been talking to their investors about how they're extremely happy with Resident Evil Village, and they want to try and make a lot of big, crazy, epic DLC to make sure people keep buying it, keep playing it, keep loving it. Last Hopes update definitely sounds like the beginning of a series of nice updates for Resident Evil Village. And again, PlayStation VR2 support, which would just be completely epic. Now, I'm not even sure what these last 2 things are. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. We did hear that this exists, but like, I'm not an Avatar fan. I can't even remember the plot of the first game or the first movie, other than there was a thing called Unobtainium, which was kind of goofy. And then Daemonimium. I have no idea what these are, but it's an announcement trailer. So these are apparently completely new projects. So if this is legit, and it does sort of seem like it, It's going to be a pretty packed showcase. The fact that it doesn't have Final Fantasy XVI to me feels like a huge missed opportunity if this turns out to be real. The fact that we're not seeing more confirmed release dates, possibly, like some of the stuff here is good as it is. I hope that Stray gets a release date. I hope Forspoken gets a release date. I hope Little Devil Inside gets a release date. I want Sony to start to tell us what specifically we're going to be playing for the rest of the year. Not loose promises, not vague hand-waving. I want to hear definitive, amazing stuff that we are going to be playing in the next few months. But what do you think? Does this seem legit? Does this seem fake? Please give me your thoughts in the comments down below. And please, if you enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, and keep dreaming. Fun fact here, just randomly at the end. Today I've been playing a bunch of Pokemon on my Analog Pocket, and I actually have this color mod. Let me turn it down so you don't get copyright struck. But the color mod is so freaking glorious on this. It looks absolutely insane. And of course, I decided to name my rival Bitch, because I am a mature adult. And if I'm going to have a rival, it's going to be called Bitch. I'm so dumb. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.